Hello learners, this is Education Online program. With you is teacher Rose Hezekiah, and I'm here to present for you a lesson in chemistry for senior 1. Our topic for today is about salts. What is a salt, or what are salts? So by definition, a salt is a compound. A salt is a compound formed when the hydrogen ions of an acid, is wholly or partially replaced by a metal or ammonium ion. That is, a salt is a compound formed when the hydrogen ions of an acid is wholly, that is completely or partially, replaced by a metal or ammonium ion. And this process of displacement of hydrogen ions, that can be wholly, that can be the whole or completely or partially, the process is called neutralization, or we say the process involves neutralization reaction. So the hydrogen ion of ions of an acid, the hydrogen ions of the acid is replaced through neutralization reaction. That is the process. The process takes place through neutralization. That is the replacement of the hydrogen ion of an acid. Then we say that a salt is a compound formed when the hydrogen ions of an acid is wholly or partially replaced by a metal or ammonium ion. So we have in case 1, when all the hydrogen ions of an acid, is replaced by a metal or ammonium ion, then we have a normal salt. We have a normal salt. For example, we have sodium hydroxide plus hydrochloric acid. This gives us sodium chloride plus water. So this is neutralization. This is neutralization reaction. In this reaction, Our acid is hydrochloric acid. And then we said when hydrogen ions of an acid is wholly or partially replaced. So the hydrogen ion that is going to be replaced is this one. So when we look at hydrochloric acid has got only one hydrogen atom. Therefore, sodium will replace this one hydrogen atom and then takes the place of this hydrogen atom to give us sodium chloride. So here we say the replacement is wholly. The replacement is wholly. Therefore, we say when all the hydrogen ions of an acid is replaced by a metal or ammonium, then we have a normal salt. So here we have all the hydrogen, the only one atom of hydrogen ion from hydrochloric acid will be replaced by a metal, by sodium metal, to give us sodium chloride. And the process is called neutralization. So when all the hydrogen ions is replaced, then we have a normal salt. Therefore, sodium chloride is a normal salt. Then in case 2, when the hydrogen ions are partially replaced, when the hydrogen ions of the acid, when the hydrogen ions of an acid is partially replaced by a metal or ammonium ion, then what we have is called acid salt. We have acid salt. We have when the hydrogen ions of an acid is partially, that is part, some of the hydrogen ions will be replaced and some of them remains. So when the hydrogen ions of an acid is partially replaced by a metal or ammonium ion, then we have an acid salt. Let us look at an example of reaction that gives us an acid salt. We have sodium chloride, or let me say it, sodium chloride plus, which is salt, plus sulfuric acid, that is aqueous. This will give us sodium hydrogen sulfate. That is solid, plus hydrochloric acid. So here sulfuric acid has got 2 hydrogen atoms. One hydrogen atom will be replaced. This will be taken by the metal, that is sodium, will take place of only one. So we have sodium hydrogen sulfate, then plus hydrochloric acid, So still one hydrogen remains. Then this one here, we call it, this is an acid salt. So we have the number of hydrogen ions in each molecule of an acid. The number of hydrogen ions, the number of hydrogen atoms, the number of hydrogen atoms, the number of hydrogen atoms, the number of hydrogen atoms in each molecule, of an acid, That is, for example, here we have in hydrochloric acid, molecule, we have one hydrogen atom. In sulfuric acid, we have two hydrogen atoms. Therefore, the number of hydrogen atoms in each molecule, that is replaceable. That can be replaced directly or indirectly. That can be replaced directly or indirectly by a metal or ammonium ion is called, the basicity of that acid. That is the number of hydrogen atoms that can be replaced directly or indirectly. For example, we have, this is the number of hydrogen atoms in hydrochloric acid. This is the number of hydrogen atoms in sulfuric acid. So here we have one hydrogen atom in hydrochloric acid, and then we have two hydrogen atoms in sulfuric acid. So this number is called basicity. So if an acid has got one hydrogen atom, we call it monobasic, monobasic acid. And if an acid has got two hydrogen atoms that can be replaced, this is called dibasic acid. So acids can be monobasic or dibasic based on the number of hydrogen atoms that can be replaced by a metal or ammonium ion. So we have, for example, dibasic acids, they form two series of salts. So we said when all the hydrogen atoms can be replaced, we call it a normal salt. That is, when all the hydrogen atoms can be replaced from a monobasic acid, then we get a normal salt. But if the hydrogen atoms can be replaced partially from a dibasic acid, we have an acid salt. Therefore, let us look at an example where all hydrogen atoms of acid are replaced. We have a normal salt. So we have, for example, we have zinc metal, that is solid, reacting with sulfuric acid, that is a dibasic acid, in aqueous form, giving us zinc sulfate hydrogen gas. So you see that zinc metal replaces all the hydrogen atoms from sulfuric acid. So this is whole replacement. So we get a normal salt. We get a normal salt. So where only a part of the hydrogen atoms of acid are replaced, then an acid. So if part of the hydrogen atoms is replaced and part is left, then we have an acid salt. So we have sulfuric acid, or we say sodium hydroxide plus sulfuric acid again. Plus sulfuric acid. We have, this is aqueous and this is aqueous. We have sodium sulfate plus water. Sodium sulfate plus water. We have sodium sulfate plus water. So here, sodium metal has replaced all the hydrogen atoms from sulfuric acid. Then we have our salt. This is normal salt. This is normal salt. Then also, the name of the salt is derived from the metal or ammonium ion which they are formed and the parent acid. So here the name of this acid is derived from the metal, or ammonium ion which they are formed and the parent acid. So we have the parent acid here. This is the parent acid, sulfuric acid, and the metal that displaces hydrogen is sodium. So sodium will displace hydrogen from the parent acid. So once hydrogen is displaced, what we have is the sulfate. We have sulfate. And the metal is sodium. So this salt is called sodium sulfate. So we have, this is the name of the metal, and this is from the parent acid, that is the sulfate group. Like we have sodium hydroxide plus hydrochloric acid. So the parent acid here is hydrochloric acid. Sodium will replace this hydrogen from hydrochloric acid. Then we have sodium chloride. That is the name of the metal, sodium, and then chlorine from the parent acid. So salts are named based on the name of the metal that displaces the hydrogen plus part of the parent acid. So, for example, we said salts can be normal salt or can be acid salt based on the number of hydrogen atoms that are replaced, either partially or wholly. When all of the hydrogen atoms are replaced, we have a normal salt, and when part of the hydrogen atoms are replaced, we have an acid salt. So, for example, we have a table here that is telling us how to name salts. We have acid, we have a column of acid, and its formula. Then we have class of salt. Then we have type of salt. Then we have examples. We have examples. So we have hydrochloric acid. Hydrochloric acid. Hydrochloric acid, the formula is HCl. The class of salt is chlorides. The type of salt will be normal because all the hydrogen atom will be replaced, and the name or the examples of salts that we can have from hydrochloric acid can be sodium chloride, or calcium chloride. Then we have nitric acid. Nitric acid is also a monobasic acid with only one hydrogen atom. The class of salt that we get from nitric acid is nitrates, because the parent acid has got group of nitrates. We get a normal salt because we have only one hydrogen atom, and this one hydrogen atom will be displaced. The type or examples of salts that we can have is potassium nitrate or lead 2 nitrate. Then we have sulfuric acid. We have sulfuric acid. The formula is H.2 S.4. The class of salt will be sulfates. And then can be sulfates, and then also we can have hydrogen sulfates, because sulfuric acid is dibasic acid. Then the type of salt, we get acidic salt. We get acidic salt. And then the example of the salt that we can have from is sodium hydrogen sulfate and magnesium sulfate, magnesium sulfate, or we can have lithium sulfate. So when we have sodium hydrogen sulfate is acidic salt. When we have magnesium sulfate, we have normal we have normal salt. That is, sulfuric acid can give us both normal and acidic salt. So when sulfuric acid reacts with the metal is magnesium, we get a normal salt. And when it reacts with sodium, we get acidic salt. Then we have carbonic acid. We have carbonic acid. H2CO3. Carbonic acid gives the class of salt will be carbonates, or we can have hydrogen carbonates. Hydrogen carbonates. Then we can get normal salt from carbonates, and then we can get acidic salt from hydrogen carbonate. So when it reacts with zinc carbonate, we get a normal salt, or calcium carbonate. When it reacts with calcium, these are normal salts. But when it reacts with hydrogen calcium, then we get an acidic salt. So we have carbonic acid can give us carbonates or hydrogen carbonates. So carbonates is a normal salt, hydrogen carbonate is acidic salt. It gives us normal salt when the metal is zinc. Then we have zinc carbonate, or calcium, we have calcium carbonate. But when it is hydrogen calcium, we have or calcium hydrogen, then we have an acid salt. So dear learners, we have come to the end of our lesson. See you in the next lesson. Bye bye.